Assalamu alaikum, Oracle Reiki spiritual healer. And this is day 15, no coffee. And I'm grief. I'm in grief. I'm in mourning. I can't have coffee. And it sucks. It sucks when, like I say, when you can't do what you want to do, it really, really sucks, especially when you've gotten your body used to doing certain things. So I guess I'll just, let you know that I can, ask some pretty messed up questions because many times I know the answer to the questions that I'm asking that one should not do. So, I try to limit myself from doing that, in order to make you think, because there are many questions that I've asked over this past week. And I wanted you to, have a forethought and understanding about, your healing process. Are you going to heal under medical doctors? Are you going to be able to heal yourself? Or are you going to be able to seek out the holistic medicine, the holy persons that God have sent up on the earth? Can you look in the holy books and compare your situation to what's been going on? If your situation is being associated with your behavior or your actions, then many times you will have to correct yourself in order to correct your healing process, in order to come in line with that healing process. That's what I'm doing now. And I'm not having a very good time, coming off of caffeine. I at least like to have 1 or 2 cups early in the morning, which is not good. So, we have to make sure that we're asking the right questions. We have to make sure that we are getting the best possible healing practices. And so I wanted to start off with, one of the movies that I have been seeing, and a lot of you, I have been talking about it with the zombies in this movie, Constantine. But, I have been asked to talk about these types of movies that have our spirituality in these types of movies. And so I decided to revisit this movie with you so that you can understand how negative things can be trapped inside of mirrors in this movie. How we cannot do what we want to do. Because he definitely, in this movie, he was definitely, a coffee drinking, cigarette smoking actor, Keanu Reeves, in this movie. And he had, lung cancer. So again, we have been talking about this healing process, and in this particular movie, because Satan wanted Keanu Reeves' soul, because he was upset because of the sacrifice that he had made. After he tried to commit suicide as a young person, he wanted his soul, so he removed the lung cancer from him. And this is when we are talking about when the entity, when the devils, when the shayateen attacks people, but they can also heal them. They can heal them, and they can, bestow gifts on you. They can bestow power upon you. One of the other things in this movie that I like is that, God was taking him, and, Keanu Reeves was still arrogant. He was still arrogant, even while he was going to heaven. He was, shooting birds at the devil. So we have to understand that a lot of chosen ones, are arrogant. And some people, like to say that word loosely, but, for me, it is confidence. It is self-confidence that they have that, I made the ultimate sacrifice. So, in this movie, I wanted to give you this movie while I was in this phase, because I cannot have coffee. So, I don't think that, Keanu Reeves in this movie went back to smoking or doing any of those things once God had, released him from those. Once God will use the devil, to heal you in certain cases. So therefore you can never go back to doing the things that you were doing. That's one of the main things that I'm going to say. And like I've been telling you guys in prior weeks, it's for me, it's been 25 years and I've stopped smoking. So I'm so grateful. And, I wanted to tell you guys as a testimony, to your addictions, they can be broken. And sometimes God will use, these types of the devils, these predators, in order to heal you. But you cannot go back ever to doing those type of behaviors, acting in the way that you were acting, and God can heal you. So, we have these understandings, but there are other facets of spirituality in this movie. And like I said, that, at the beginning of this movie, there was an entity attached to this young girl. And they had to get this entity attached from her. It was a violent entity. And the way that they were able to remove this negative attachment from her is with a mirror. It's by placing a mirror over her bed. The entity was trying to come out of this mirror into the world, into the physical world, and these are, some of these gems that was in this movie that people were not understanding. They were looking at it as entertainment. And when you watch these types of movies, they're not scary movies, they're spiritual movies. When you see with spiritual eyes that the entity, the dark entity, the violent entity wants to, come into this world. It wants to pierce through the veil and come into this world as a dark entity. It wants to be attached to people, as a dark entity. So when we have these types of understandings for these movies, then we also understand some of the rituals that, he was praying over this young lady, that he had her bound and tied because, the entity would try to attack them. And sometimes in many cases with exorcisms, you will have to, bound and tie the client, because they will, attack the priest or the priestess. They will attack, especially when you are praying for them, especially when you are using, spiritual cleansing methods. And, as you seen in this movie, he put like something like a silver coin in her forehead. And hold on, guys, that's the street cleaners. Okay, I think, okay. So yeah, he was using a silver coin in her forehead, and it started to burn her. And, as we understand that silver is one of the holy metals of God. So we can see the spiritual, and we have people that are, afraid of these types of movies, because you can actually enter into a portal, just like the mirror. They had to throw that mirror. Once that entity entered into the mirror in this movie, they had to throw that mirror out of the window so that it would break, so that the entity could not come into this world, but you were able to see that it made one arm out of there. It made one arm out of there before they were able to break this mirror on the ground and send it back into, the pits of hell. Deport it back to hell. So this is our understanding that this is what's going on in life, that a lot of these people who have these attachments, will become violent and attack you when you start to pray, out loud. And I wanted to give you these types of, references that have been used so that you can understand that they have put these spiritual means for entertainment inside of movies when they are absolutely some clear and concise cleansing methods. I had to get that out that CCC was giving me. Okay. So it's a cleansing method that we're using in the spiritual realm in order to cleanse clients from negative energy. Why did they feel to make it as entertainment? So that people would not believe these types of cleansings. People would not believe that these things happen, that these entities are attached, because they want to continue. They want you to continue behind the veil. They want you to continue in the darkness. They want you to continue coming to spiritual places that do not help your situation. That, God has not ordained just one way of preaching and hollering over you, especially when you read the Holy Bible, when you read the Holy Quran. There's just not one way of cleansing. There's many different ways of cleansing given by God to different prophets. So we are having, this depiction of Keanu Reeves as one of those people who are, able to heal and cleanse. And, his backstory, he had been through a lot as a child, as a young man. He had some near-death experiences. And this is also, a part of, this story that we'll get back to, because there are a lot of things, that a lot of gems in this movie that we can discuss. And, once I reach out to you again, once we, start on these types of movies again, we've been doing this one and we've been doing the Harry Potter. So once I reach out, with these types of gems again in these types of movies, then we're going to go in depth, with some of the things that they have in this movie, that they've depicted in this movie, that they keep under lock and key. So, I hope that you received this message. Please like, share, and subscribe to me. You can book your one-on-one sessions with me so I can acclimate a gift to your situation in either a life coaching session or a video chat session. Please make sure that you're donating to my channel. You can leave a comment for me. Book a consultation so that we can have an in-depth idea about what you need. I'm High Oracle, Reiki Spiritual Healer. Assalamu alaikum.